Hey guys, Narcos Mexico is finally out, and this is the 4th season of Narcos. Even though the story doesn't really have anything to do with the first 3 seasons, it's still intricately tied in the sense that it all takes place in the same time frame. Now, for the first 3 seasons of Narcos, we followed the story of the Colombian cartels from Pablo Escobar all the way to the end of the Cali cartel. Now, in Narcos Mexico, we go back in time, back to the beginning of the 80s, and now we're in Mexico, and that is the beginning of the drug war. Now, what's different between this season and the previous seasons is that this conflict is still ongoing. The DEA is still in the drug war with the Mexican cartels that has lasted since the 1980s all the way to this day in 2018, which is crazy if you think about it, because that is a long war. That's arguably America's longest war being fought right now. But let's talk about the story of Narcos Mexico, the new characters. Unlike the previous seasons of Narcos, this is a whole new cast, new DEA agents, new cartels and everything, even though we do get some visits from the Colombian cartel, which I did like about this season, the fact that it's tied in the Mexican cartels with the Colombian cartels, because when the drug trade was the drug trade and business was booming, all of these guys were intermingled with one another. But this story specifically follows 2 main characters. We have on the DEA side, the famous Kiki Camarena. We're gonna get into Kiki because he plays such a huge role in the new initiatives that the DEA decides to take because of what happens to them in Mexico. And I don't know if you guys remember in the first season of Narcos, I think it was about episode 3, they mentioned Kiki Camarena and why the cartels in Colombia don't attack DEA agents. And on the opposite of Kiki, we have Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo, who is the kingpin, the godfather of the Mexican drug cartels. And this man, if you thought the Cali cartel were masterful, if you thought Pablo was ruthless, this guy is the guy who united all the different Mexican cartels under one roof. Like, that's how much swag and power he had. Now, what I really liked about this season is the dichotomy and the rivalry between these two. Because in the previous seasons of Narcos, we had the point of view of either the drug kingpin or a DEA agent. But in this series, we have these 2 guys as 2 dueling sides who truly despise each other. Like, it's a collision course between Kiki and Felix that's gonna end up bloody. And if you guys looked at the history of it all, if you guys Googled Kiki's name, for example, you know what happens to him, and you know what he sacrificed for the DEA. You know the repercussions of what his actions led to and why the DEA became such a prominent figure in American law enforcement. It's all because of what the Mexican cartel did to Kiki. Another thing I enjoyed about this season is that it humanized Felix, because when it came to the first 3 seasons of Narcos, especially dealing with Pablo Escobar, they tried to humanize him, but it was something missing. Like, it was something missing about him. With Felix, we saw his family, we saw him before he was rich, and we saw his grind and his upward mobility, and we saw the amount of power a cold, calculating leader could have, as opposed to Pablo Escobar, who is more emotional and temperamental, and how he clashed heads with the government. We saw how powerful a cartel can be when they have the government on their side. And that's how deep the Mexican cartels went, that they had government officials in their pocket to the point where they can just abduct DEA agents and the main perpetrator behind it does not go to jail. Not only does he not go to jail, but he gets the army to escort him back to his base of operations and continue working as though nothing happened. This season of Narcos really showed you just how corrupt this thing can be, and just how and why this war continues so long, because it is a war that is looked and almost sponsored by the government itself. That's wild. And Felix, the way he moves, the way he's so calculating, the way he has an air about him that he doesn't let anything interfere with the business, that's different than the Cali cartel, that's different than Pablo, because this man is a genius and nothing's gonna get in the way. Another character that I did like watching was the fact that we got to see El Chapo before he was El Chapo, when he was just Chapo the driver. And I like that dynamic because we have a lot of shows about El Chapo, we have a lot of documentaries, but we rarely see him as not the kingpin that he is. We rarely see him as the regular do-boy that he was until he became El Chapo. Overall, this season of Narcos really took the show in a new light, and I'm liking the direction because now we know the stage has been set for all-out war between the cartel and the DEA, and next season is going to be wild. Unlike the previous seasons where it was more about the rise and fall of certain characters, this is about an ongoing conflict. So this is the beginnings of a fire, of a whole process, the formation of a cartel from growing mass marijuana fields that you can see from the moon. Like the fields of marijuana these guys were growing, they got into the drug game. They met with the Colombians. all that. We get to see the inner workings of just how corrupt and just how deep this rabbit hole goes. So I really enjoyed it. And guys, let me know in the comment section below, what did you enjoy about this season, or what did you not enjoy? I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. And if you like this video, definitely hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you guys haven't already. And until next time, binge on.